Hello everyone, my name is Cesar and I'm back with another build for Path of Exile. This time is a Hydrosphere Inquisitor. As usual, the PoE is going to be in the description of the video and there is a map showcase at the end. If you want to skip to that part, you can use the timestamps below. So, we're using Hydrosphere as our main damage. We can drag it around and it deals damage to the enemies. Now it's very important that we need to freeze the Hydrosphere. To do that, we're using Vortex in our left click. So whenever we walk, we cast Vortex. So basically how it works is there is a Hydrosphere. When we get close to it, the Vortex freezes the Hydrosphere and it pulses. And it deals damage to the enemies and then you can drag it around, even pulsing. Let's see, and there we go. Okay, so that's how the build works. Other skills that we're using are Flame Dash for our movement skill, Arcanist Brand together with Assassin's Mark, so this is for single target, and also Enduring Cry, as I usually use in my builds as another way of recovery. So as I said, the PoE is in the description. You can check all the gear, you can check the passive tree there. I'm going to talk about some of the most important things in this build. So the first one, I would say the most important thing is the chest piece, actually, which is the Skin of the Lords. We're using this for a few reasons. The first one is the +2 level of socketed gems. It's very good for Hydrosphere because it scales very well with levels. Check this out. Hydrosphere at level 21 says deals 585 to 877 physical damage at level 21. Currently, my Hydrosphere is level 30 and it deals 1962 to 2943 physical damage, so it's quite a big difference. So that is one of the reasons why we're using Skin of the Lords. It gives +2 to Hydrosphere and combined with Empower, a level 3 for example gives us +4 levels. A level 4 Empower would give us +5. So the Skin of the Lords also affects the Empower. That is why it is so good and it is so popular in this league. The other gems are Awakened at Cold Damage, that actually gives us another +1, and some cold damage, which is very nice. Inspiration for mana. Yeah, mana is can be a big problem that we need to solve in this build as well. Increase crits and hypothermia are the other links. Anyway, Skin of the Lords is also useful for the 100% increased global defenses. We're scaling armor and energy shield, so that affects both and is very good. And the other reason is because we get Pain Attunement. Right? That gives us 30% more spell damage when we are on low life. And we are on low life with Petrified Blood. One of the reasons is to get Pain Attunement. The other reason is because of our belt, the Burden of Truth. Basically gives us Supreme Decadence, which makes it so our Life Flask also applies to Energy Shield. So we have with a life flask that has the line instant recovery when on low life. Basically we have an instant energy shield and life flask. So it's pretty good. It's a very good combination. Also the belt gives us some protection against chaos damage and life as extra energy shield, which is nice as well. The other unique that we're using is Aegis Aurora. This is to be tanky, and Aegis Aurora combined with, if we check the passive tree, with Glancing Blows, with Max Block, and Divine Shield is very good. And high armor, of course. Currently I do have 32k armor with our flasks up. So that is the combo, right? Don't forget to take this wheel, basically this node and this mastery, to get your block capped with Glancing Blows. You might need to allocate this point here as well, to get some spell block, but I think that with enough aura effect you can skip and save that point. Anyway, the Skin of the Lords, this one in particular is a bit expensive actually. I paid 4 divines for mine with these colors, with Pain Attunement. I have seen many people run. There is actually a popular Hydrosphere Occultist version from the YouTuber Aero. This is one of the inspirations for this build. Also, the 2 guys playing Hydrosphere Inquisitor and PoE Ninja, those are my inspirations for this. Most of them are using Intensify, but I decided not to use it because Skin of the Lords with this Pain Attunement and 3 blue, 2 reds, and 1 green is actually like 20 divines. So I decided to swap Intensify for added cold damage, Awakened, so we have the +1. Then all the other gear is... the gloves are important. You need this Essence mod. Socketed gems have increased critical strike chance. That is good for our Vortex. So our Vortex can actually freeze the Hydrosphere. It needs to have very high crit chance. What you can do is put the Vortex in your gloves with that mod, that Essence mod, and then, especially early on, with increased critical strike chance support, and then you can always crit. You have like, with that combination, I think you already have like 100% crit in our Vortex. Currently I have 93, but with the flasks I have 100. And also we get power charges on the power charge on critical strike support. As I mentioned earlier, Inspiration helps us with mana problems. I'm also using triple reduced mana cost in both rings and in the amulet, because mana can be a big problem because we're running a lot of auras I'm going to talk about in a second. An easy solution, especially early on, is using a mana flask. I was actually using a mana flask for a very long time instead of Bottle of Faith. But after you solve your mana problems, you have access to another flask. So we're running a lot of auras. We're a bit of an aura stacker. I think in total we have 8 different auras. First, the most important ones would be Determination and Hatred. Then you would probably want to add Herald of Ice. When you're ready to go low life, when you have enough reservation, you can add Petrified Blood, and then Tempest Shield. That was my order. So you get the max block, spell block in this case. Then you can add the other ones like Discipline, Vitality. I lastly added Clarity to fix my mana problems. So in order to reserve so many auras, we need quite a bit of mana reservation efficiency and life reservation efficiency. So we're getting reservation efficiency in our helmet, the implicit, and also with the essence mod. Make sure that you have the enchant as well, it's very important. Then in the passive tree, I'm running some clusters for damage, crit, and the small ones are double mana reservation efficiency with the hatred node for both actually. Then this wheel, of course, and this mastery for life reservation efficiency, so we can reserve in our life both Tempest Shield and Vitality using Arrogance support. That mastery is actually quite important, so we can do both. Also, the Anoint is Charisma, 2 Golden Oils and 1 Opalescent, I believe, so it's not the cheapest. But Golden Oils are also not that expensive. We get a lot of reservation and effect, our effect. And also in this case I'm using a jewel with reservation in the implicit and also in one of the mods as well. Notice that the implicit is reservation in general, which affects both mana and life, which is very good. A big upgrade would be using Ashes, especially because Ashes gives, as mentioned from the jewel, reservation for both life and mana. So you can probably fit another aura in our life pool. So the budget for this build, this version at least, should be around 25 divines, more or less. I'm also using a Watcher's Eye, with one important note, which is the Hatred crit. And the other two are not necessary, of course. Just try to get a Watcher's Eye with Hatred crit with a decent roll, and that's good enough. The Leech is actually not that important because you can get Leech on your gloves as an Eater of Worlds implicit. That is the build. I would say that this build is, at least this version, is mostly a mapper. It's a decent mapper. It's actually very nice. Not much of a boss killer, mainly because I don't have that much damage. You can actually get way more damage doing a few things. For example, instead of the freezes spread to other enemies, you can get a nerf. Instead of Herald of Ice, you can run Herald of Purity, which gives physical damage. Remember that Hydrosphere originally deals physical damage, but when we freeze it, the physical damage is converted to cold damage, right? So any increases to physical damage affect our Hydrosphere. You could potentially add Righteous Fire, which would be super nice actually. Currently I cannot sustain Righteous Fire, but maybe with a couple of good regen rolls on the helmet and maybe on the boots, you could sustain Righteous Fire that way. Or if you get max fire resistance somewhere. Another quick tip is that for your weapon or for your amulet, for example, when trying to craft or buying them, you can get either +1 level of lighting, cold, or physical gems, because Hydrosphere is lightning, physical, and cold, as you can see in the tags up there. Right? So any of the three works. For example, I have cold, +1 cold in my amulet, +1 lightning in my weapon. Right, so that's the build, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you do decide to play the build, I wish you good luck. I hope you have fun. I am certainly having fun playing this build. But that's it. Alright, thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.